That lake belongs to the HOA, not you. That's the line Margaret Sterling, our HOA president, yelled in my face in front of the whole community. I mean, you ever have one of those moments where it feels like you just got put on trial for a crime you didn't even know existed? Yeah, that happened. Right there in the fluorescent glow of the community center, with Margaret's voice echoing off the walls like a gavel. And if you think HOA drama is just about lawn height or mailbox colors, let me tell you, you have no idea how deep this rabbit hole goes. Let me back up a second. My name's Derek Tanaka, and before all this, I was basically a digital ghost. Used to be a top data analyst for the NSA. Yeah, that NSA. Until someone I trusted stabbed me in the back and leaked info that ended my career, my clearance, my whole reputation. So when my grandma passed and left me her lakeside cabin out in suburban Portland, I saw it as a sign. Time to disappear. Time to just be nobody by a quiet lake. Maybe finally sleep without checking for red dots on my ceiling. The cabin was perfect. Old A-frame, 60 feet of shoreline. Just me, the trees, and a dock where I'd watch kingfishers dive. For 3 months, it was peace. Then Margaret found me. First came her infamous email, 47 attachments. I thought it was a phishing scam until I saw the HOA letterhead. This woman had turned community management into an Olympic sport. She wanted weekly reports, property activity logs, 48-hour visitor notices, stuff that sounded more like CIA onboarding than neighborhood policy. But when I looked Margaret up, that's when things clicked. She was the former CEO of Sterling Insurance, the one who'd tanked her own company in a scandal, denied disaster payouts, and lost everything. So now she was running the HOA like it was her personal Fortune 500 comeback tour, and anyone who got in the way, well, welcome to hell. Face to face. Margaret was all business. Silver hair, $2,000 suit, handshake that could crack walnuts, and eyes that never blinked. There was something desperate there, too, like someone who couldn't accept being ordinary. She wasn't here to manage a neighborhood. She was here to control it. First time I met her in person was at the big HOA meeting, just 3 weeks after her email attack. I walk in expecting snacks and neighborly chit-chat. Nope. Margaret's got the lights dimmed, PowerPoint on the wall, laser pointer in hand. She starts talking about community asset management and maximizing property value through strategic resource allocation. And folks are nodding along like she's Moses reading tablets. But by slide 37, the mask slipped a bit. She got choked up talking about her daughter Emma, how she died in a lake accident. Suddenly, you could feel the pain in her words, a mother's grief fueling her obsession with safety and control. First, I almost felt for her. But the more I talked with neighbors, retired insurance folks like Bob and Carol, the clearer it got. Margaret wasn't out to keep anyone safe. She was making it so complicated and expensive to use the lake, no one but her would even bother. She wanted every dock, every inch, under her thumb, all justified with a mountain of red tape. And then things turned real. One morning, 6 a.m., I wake up to a crew building an iron fence across my property line. Foreman says it's a community safety installation. He's got paperwork and everything. Margaret picks up my call on the first ring, cool as ice, says it's all legal, county permits, safety comes first, the works. But fate, or gravity, was on my side that day. The foreman trips, drops a USB drive, and I pocket it before he notices. Back at the cabin, I crack it open. Jackpot. The real permit is for a 3-foot decorative fence, nothing close to the prison wall they were building. But buried in the files are emails between Margaret and a company called Sterling Community Solutions, plans for a luxury resort, private marina, the works. Her whole campaign wasn't about safety. It was about pushing me out, taking my grandmother's water rights, and flipping the lake for millions. Twist of fate. My grandma had seen this coming. My old neighbor Eddie, a retired judge, tells me she fought the last HOA president over mineral rights years ago. She'd kept every document, every legal trick, in a safety deposit box. My inheritance wasn't just a cabin, but a map for how to win. I go public, live stream myself dismantling the illegal fence, walk everyone through Margaret's real plans. The internet blows up, thousands tuning in, lawyers offering help, Former Sterling Insurance employees dropping dirt on Margaret's past. Now the whole world is watching. Margaret comes back swinging, slaps me with an $800,000 lawsuit for digital terrorism, plasters my photo on wanted posters around the neighborhood, gets my bank accounts frozen. People cross the street to avoid me, grocery stores whisper. But as I dig deeper, I realize I'm not her first target. Two families had already been bullied out of their homes the exact same way. And then, buried in my grandma's will, I find the nuclear option, a clause that automatically transfers the land to a trust if anyone tries to use legal or financial manipulation to force a sale. Margaret had triggered the very trap set to stop people like her. With the help of my FBI buddy Jake and Agent Shun, I hand over everything. Emails, fake permits, proof of property fraud. Turns out Margaret's scheme is part of a bigger pattern, and she's about to learn the hard way that the feds don't play HOA games. Still, when I confront her with empathy, telling her I understand the grief for her daughter and offer to help build real safety programs, she tears up my letter and launches full cyber war. Deletes my accounts, tanks my credit, files false police reports. She's drowning, and she wants to pull me under with her. But if Margaret was going to go digital, I'd go nuclear. I spend a week hacking into every system she's touched, emails, contracts, even her hacker-for-hire deals. On the day of her big community summit, she gets ready to present, and instead, the projector rolls out all her dirty laundry. Emails, secret calls, the whole fraud laid bare. The FBI walks in and arrests her on the spot. 23 families file a class action. The neighborhood breathes free. 6 months later, justice isn't just prison time. The HOA is forced to pay damages, and with my settlement, I build the Emma Memorial Digital Sanctuary on the lake, an open, tech-driven environmental center for kids, honoring the girl who wanted to save the world. The irony? The same folks who once sided with Margaret now line up to pay for dock rights, funding education and real safety for the next generation. Even the families Margaret drove out come home again, their grandkids laughing on the dock. And Margaret? After serving time, she writes to me, real, honest, apologetic. She volunteers at the sanctuary, teaching about ethics, control, and the cost of letting pain run your life. The lake she tried to steal becomes a place of healing. Her story, my fight, now part of the same lesson for the whole community. So yeah, sometimes the folks who hurt us are just lost in their own grief, but that doesn't mean we have to let them win. If you've ever stared down a bully with too much power, if you've ever had to decide between folding or fighting, I hope you remember, the truth, your story, is always stronger than their schemes. What would you have done in my shoes? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about justice, power, and who really owns the story of a place.